So, I'm a little late to this one, huh? Lethal Company is an interesting game. In the modern gaming landscape of Ultra 4K HD views and stealth action gameplay, Lethal Company looks ripped straight out of 1998. The game's visual identity is most reminiscent of a Source game like Half-Life or Garry's Mod. Its gloomy maps with eerie skyboxes, pixelated sights, low-poly trees, and jagged terrain looking straight out of Super Mario 64. And yet, the last 6 weeks of my life have been consumed by endless play sessions. That scrap grind never ceases after all. It's a fairly simple game on the surface. An indie released by just one developer, Lethal Company is a game about collecting scrap. You travel to a variety of exomoons with varying environments and conditions, and scour the dungeon-like facilities within for literal rubbish. You're doing this to the benefit of The Company, a mysterious conglomerate who will give you increasingly high profit quotas to collect. Each piece of scrap has a different value, so you'll need to strategize and prioritize a lot when there's a lot to choose from. There's a level of optimistic uncertainty as you enter, with the company encouraging you with robotic voices and playing cute jingles when you order supplies. The world around you is haunting, but hey, a job's a job. So that's the game. What's the big deal again? I don't get.
Okay guys, I will be in charge of...
Oh. Welcome to Lethal Company, somehow both the scariest and the funniest game I've ever played. The aim of the game is still to collect as much scrap as possible, but you are very much not alone in the facilities you visit. Or out of them, either. Thankfully, you can squad up with up to 3 friends, and that is where the game goes from horrifying to hilarious. A lot of the fun of Lethal Company, for me at least, is reacting to the scary things in a way that ends up with us either screaming or laughing. Now don't get me wrong, Lethal Company on its own is bloody terrifying, and I'm far too much of a wimp to stomach it for more than a single quota. So, what are the creatures that you'll be encountering on your hunts for scrap? And I suppose more importantly, how do you deal with them? First up, the friendlies. Tulip snakes are just funny, silly little birds that fly around and can even latch onto you and lift you into the air. Just silly little guys. 10 out of 10, no notes. The only adversary you'll really encounter during the gloomy mornings is the circuit bees, a really annoying swarm of bees that will zap you if you get too close to the hive. However, you can grab the hive and it's quite valuable. Some techniques have developed to allow employees to most safely grab the hive. The real terror begins once you enter the facility. One of the most common entities also serves as the face of the game in a way, the Flower Man, or Bracken. The Bracken is sneaky. It blends into the darkness and lurks behind you until it's ready to reach out and snap your neck. It's always a freaky sight, especially when you just see his eyes in the darkness and you just know he's in there with you, following your every movement. Because he always knows where you are, and he's always following you. Luckily, they're also quite shy, so if you just glance at them, it'll back off. Just don't look at them for too long. The bunker spider is also pretty common. It's a spider, there's not much to observe there, just don't stand in its webs and it'll most likely leave you alone. Now, since I am a coward, I play with the arachnophobia mode on, so the spider for me is just the word spider, which I think is pretty funny. The hoarding bug is also pretty friendly if you're careful, however they will try to steal your loot and they do get angry if you try to take that loot back. Usually I just kind of ignore them and do my own thing. Of course, the goodest boy of all is the spore lizard. He's my favorite. He's absolutely adorable. I mean, come on, how can you not love that? Just look at him. Arguably the most friendly of all the creatures, they're more scared of you than you are of them, and the most they'll ever really do is release a cloud of spores to scare you off. So cute. The Hydro deer? The slime is only really dangerous if you get caught in the ooze. Otherwise you can just jump over it and keep exploring as it moves very slowly. On its own, it's not really an issue. You can even drop a boombox and it will start dancing on it. But when combined with other, more dangerous creatures, it can become a real hazard. When you're running around the frantic hallways, you may suddenly be jump scared as something lands on your head and sucks the life out of you. This is the snare flea. It's really your traditional horror face hugger, and and it will kill you unless either a teammate whacks you with a shovel or you get out of the facility in time. You see, the snare flea, he likes to play a lot of Fortnite competitive, so he hasn't really seen the sun. The snare flea can be scary when you first encounter it, but if you have a shovel, you're probably going to be fine. Now onto the more dangerous, slightly less common encounters. There's the Thumper, a slightly grotesque creature that will spot you and crawl towards you at increasingly high speeds. It can be quite horrifying to hear it thumping around in the distant darkness, especially when you're deep into the complex, but if you know the facility well, you can go to certain spots and kind of cheat your way into killing it. Failing that, it's not impossible to deal with otherwise, as they aren't very good at turning. Leading them around complexes can get them pretty disorientated. It's a funny creature. The coil head is one of the scariest sights in the facility. If you're not incredibly careful, this guy will instantly end your day. You have to keep your eyes on it at all times, otherwise it will rush towards you and instantly kill you. If they're on their own, it's manageable, just keep an eye on it and slowly find your way to the exit. The issues arise when other creatures pull up too, particularly the Bracken, who will kill you if you look at it for too long. The Coilhead is one of the creatures I fear the most in this game, but he adds a level of challenge to the moons that can really spice things up. Butlers are most commonly found on higher tier moons. When you're in a group, he's just kind of there. He's ugly and smelly, but smelling bad isn't a crime, I guess. No, it's only when you're left alone with him that he'll pull a knife on you and try to stab you. He's a sneaky fellow and will never attack if you're with at least one other person, so he probably won't be a problem if you're playing multiplayer, but if you're solo, he might just end your run. The Barber is a very mysterious one. You'll hear them deep within the facility as the snare drum of a marching band slowly approaches. They move on beat and will follow you if they spot you, but the catch is that you can't see them until they're within a tile of you, so you'll have to be incredibly careful with your movements if you believe they are close, lest you get snipped. It's not easy to tell where they are, and more importantly, if they have seen you. Now onto the rarer folk, like, you'll see them less than 1 in 10 runs rare. First, the Jester. The Jester can and will end your run. It may seem harmless at first, just a little jack in the box, but then it starts winding. This is your warning to get out as its tune becomes more and more demented. After around 40 seconds, it'll pop out and reveal its true form, a horrifying skull on a stalk that will chase you and eat you. It always knows exactly where you are and how to get to you, and it will run faster and faster and faster until it reaches you. There is no outrunning the Jester. You want to be at the facility doors right when he pops so you can step outside and reset it. It is by far the most consistent and dangerous run ender for the majority of players, as it is just that deadly. Even the Bracken wants nothing to do with the Jester. The Nutcracker is a true American patriot. It'll stomp around, shotgun in hand, and periodically stop to scan the nearby area. As long as you don't move while it's scanning, you won't be spotted. But if you are spotted, you'll almost certainly be one-pumped. The Masked is a sneaky one. They look like players, but they wear a theatrical comedy mask. It may look like your friend, but it most certainly is not. Masks are like mimics mixed with zombies. They'll follow you around until they can catch you, at which point they will turn you into one of them. If your friends are as loud as mine are, you'll probably know when one is masked, but they've still caught me off guard more than a few times. You can simply beat a masked to death with a shovel, but this can be tricky as they can easily grab you and convert you, so it's good to have someone else with another shovel to knock them off you. If a player is foolish enough to try and wear either the comedy or tragedy masks you can find as scrap, they'll very quickly become a masked too and begin the hunt for conversions. Finally is the rarest of all. The Ghost Girl. The Ghost Girl is terrifying. She'll randomly appear, flicker the lights, breathe into your ear, and basically play a game of hide and seek with you, where you're the seeker, and if you find her, she'll skip up to you and explode you. The Ghost Girl is especially terrifying, as if you're haunted by her, only you can see her. She basically makes you develop schizophrenia until she kills you and moves on to her next victim. She also factors in the employee's paranoia when selecting her victim. Basically, you rack up paranoia points by looking around a lot, scanning a lot, and generally just being really scared, so that's nice of her. And as if that wasn't bad enough, both the Masked and Ghost Girl share one thing in particular. Unlike any other enemies in the game, they can both enter and leave the facility. The Masked will be looking for you at all times, following you all the way back to the ship, and the Ghost Girl can always spawn behind you, so long as there is room to do so. So basically, the facilities can be absolutely terrifying. As the day progresses, more of these wacky creatures will emerge and team up on you to make your run a living nightmare. So often it's good to get in and get out as quickly as possible, especially on harder moons. But man, if you want that high quota, you're going to need to deal with them. But once you get out, it's all good, right? Back to just the birds and the bees. No. Throughout the day, more horrific entities have been born into the world, and now you've got to deal with those too. The least threatening of all is the baboon hawk, aka
that fucking bird that I hate.
These guys will gang up on you to try and steal your scrap. If you outnumber them, they'll probably back off, but especially if you're alone, a pack of baboon hawks can result in you being pecked to death. That's just an embarrassing way to go, frankly. While dealing with those birds, you might hear loud stomping from afar. This means that the forest keeper is about. These giants are exceptionally common on many of the first moons you can visit, but they're pretty easy to spot. Basically, if they see you, they'll start chasing you to gobble you right up. Just stay out of sight and you'll be alright. Eyeless dogs are much more of a threat if you like to yap as much as my friend group does. The dogs can't see you, but they can hear you, and if they hear you, they'll charge you and swallow you whole. The best part is, these guys love to search for food, including inside the ship. So if you hear growling, maybe just shut up for a minute. The kidnapper fox is my least favorite enemy in the game. Not that it's scary, more so that it's just incredibly annoying. It comes from these vein shrouds and will grab players and drag them to its den with its tongue. Much like the dogs, it will search for you on the ship itself, but it takes a lot of hits to shovel it and you can't really avoid it unless you buy some weed killer and take out the shrouds before it even spawns. I really don't like the fox to the point of installing mods just to take it out. It's just not fun. Earth leviathans are pretty rare and not very predictable. They'll burrow underground until they find you, jumping out and devouring you if you get caught. My issue is, well, you don't really know where it is below the ground, and by the time it finds me, I don't have enough time to evacuate before it consumes me whole. I'm not a huge fan of this either, but it's very rare, so whatever. Finally, there's the old bird, one of the rarest entities in the game. Well, except for on certain moons. This machine of war will obliterate anyone and anything in its path. This is a double-edged shovel. On one hand, it'll easily take out the forest keepers and the eyeless dogs that usually terrorize you, but on the other, it'll also take you out if it sees you, firing a barrage of rockets or even torching you if you get too close. Oh, and the sounds it makes, dude. The sound design on the old bird is truly just horrifying. That's all the creatures you can encounter on your scrap hunting ventures, for now. Lethal Company gets pretty consistent updates, with new enemies being added every so often. On their own, many of these creatures are indeed manageable, and may not instantly end your run, but it is when they team up on you, then the danger is often insurmountable. And don't forget, you're still trying to collect as much scrap as you can while dealing with these guys. You can't just drop everything and run, because then you'll get fired by the company, and that's not great either. Hey, at least you can sell your friends. The chance you have of encountering each creature will shift depending on what moon you choose to land on, so let's talk about those. The first moon you'll likely end up at is Experimentation. moon. It's undoubtedly the most uneventful, with pitiful amounts of scrap to find. As the first moon developed, it has a couple of unique secrets. First, if you run in and out of the main entrance too many times, the garage door may close, rendering the entrance inaccessible. Second, there is a massive complex within the building that can only be reached with an extension ladder. My guess is that it was used for dev testing, as it is entirely empty and feels nothing like the rest of the game. But pretty cool. Trivia aside, experimentation really is only good on Quota 1. Assurance is probably the best free moon, which is ironic since I hated it when I was just starting out. Easily its best feature is just how quickly you can tech your way to the facility at the start. But in terms of enemy spawns, it's pretty light, with some of the bigger threats, coils, jesters and old birds, not even able to spawn. The worst you probably have to deal with is a thumper. Vow is a super underrated moon for me. I like the different ways you can approach it from the outside, which also makes it far easier to deal with the notably common forest keepers, and there's honestly a fun challenge in dealing with the higher bracken spawn rate inside. Brackens simply aren't that hard to deal with once you've logged a good few hours in. Note that the two plant-themed entities are super common on this forest moon. That's a good world-building detail. I can see why it's not that popular though. The risk to reward ratio is hardly weighted in its favour. Offense is the most forgettable moon. It's really just a worse assurance. There's no reason to go here unless you absolutely love thumpers, because good lord, they are everywhere. This moon also has the highest chance of spawning a coil head. The fire exit is completely useless unless you have a ladder, and it's about as valuable as the scrap you'll find on it. March is unique in that it has 3 fire exits, so if you're getting chased down, it's fairly easy to find a way out. And yeah, you'll probably need to, as much like Offense, it has an incredibly high thumper spawn rate. The facilities here can also be absolutely huge, so it's pretty easy to get lost, and the extra fire exits are very much appreciated. It's just kind of average in my books, not a super common visit is all. Adamance is my beloved. It's not the best moon, but it is absolutely my favourite to visit. The layout is super fun. You can parkour over this broken bridge right to an easy fire exit, just don't fumble the jump as badly as I did here, or there's the other bridge, which you can run over fine so long as you aren't too heavy, else it will collapse. The absolutely massive table of potential creature spawns means that no 2 runs ever feel the same, and this moon is where many of my most cherished company memories were formed. I love Adamance. That's all the moons you can visit for free. However, if you pay the small cost of your life savings, you can unlock the privilege of collecting the exact same scrap, but on more dangerous moons. Thank you, company! The first of these moons is Rend. Rend is incredibly hard to see on as it's constantly in a blizzard, so being outside can be super disorientating if you don't know where you're going. Thankfully there's this trail of lights you can follow, so just stick to the path, man. Inside you'll very quickly encounter some very dangerous enemies, most notably the Nutcracker. It's a great moon if you want to try and grab yourself some sweet American liberty, and it also has basically no turrets or landmines. Rend is also most likely the first moon you'll encounter the manor interior on. There are 2 main interior types, at least right now, the factory and the manor. The factory consists of long, thin hallways and small rooms, with only very rare large industrial rooms or parkour rooms that everyone seems to fall in. It's cramped, it's tight, and it's dark. The manor is a very unique experience after so many factories, opening on a large foyer and breaking off into many different paths with much larger rooms and unique set pieces. Some creatures are more easy to deal with in a manor, like the bracken is easy to spot before he gets you, but you trade that off for the more dangerous, almost exclusive creatures that you will encounter here. Oh, and no matter what interior you find yourself in, there's still a high chance of encountering turrets, landmines and spike traps, all of which can be run-enders if you're not paying attention. Rend is great, but Dine has my heart. Easy shot straight to both fire and main doors, lots of high value scrap from lamps to cash registers, and a low chance of most of the scarier creatures. Inside. Yeah, prepare yourself for a lot of eyeless dogs. Dine is also notably home to a lot of butlers, to the point that you're almost guaranteed to end up with a few unwanted visitors by the end of the day. Oh, and guess what? Dine also has a constant blizzard, but with much more traps and mines and turrets than its snowy friend. Dine is certainly dangerous, but is more certainly rewarding. Titan is seemingly the final moon, and on the surface it looks simple enough. A straight staircase right up to both entrances, not dissimilar to experimentation. Don't be fooled though, if you're unprepared here, you will die. Titan spawns almost exclusively the hardest enemies in the game, and the relatively even chance of getting a factory or manor interior can result in you not being adequately prepped for what you'll encounter. Titan is admittedly my least favourite tier 3 moon. It's expensive, it's not particularly fun, and it doesn't at least have the benefit of easy knife or shotgun farming. Titan is great for high quota solo runs though, as you can go back and forth from the ship pretty quickly. Plus there's no butlers, and those guys suck in single player. However, it also has the biggest facilities in the entire game, so the best scrap is often far from the exits, putting you more and more into Bracken and Coilhead land. Every moon also has a random chance of having a weather effect. They can simply be foggy, but the danger comes when the other effects come into play. When it's rainy, you can sink into mud patches and die. When it's stormy, you have to keep dropping metal scraps so that you don't get struck by lightning. When it's flooded, parts of the map will be entirely inaccessible due to water, so you'll have to rethink your approach entirely. But by far the worst is an eclipse. When it's eclipsed, the creature spawn rate is tenfold and everything spawns very early into the day. It's a nightmare run, but it can be pretty fun too. Beyond Titan, there are two hidden moons that relate more to the game's lore than anything else. First, Embryon. No. We like to refer to Embryon as the troll moon, as there is simply no chance of an Embryon run going genuinely well. Embryon has a whopping 86% chance for any outdoor entity that spawns to be an old bird, resulting in a comical amount of giant death robots running around even at the start of the day. The main entrance is also really far from the ship, so you have to run directly through the field of death robots every single time. And after all that, the loot inside isn't even anything special. It is thoroughly not worth going to Embryon. Now on the other hand, there's Artifice. This is easily the hardest moon in the game in terms of sheer creature variety. It also costs a ton to go here, but boy will you make it back and then some. Artifice can spawn all of the highest value scrap in the game, and you can easily end a single day with thousands in profit. The danger comes from the near guaranteed chance of an old bird appearing outside. I mean, that's manageable, but then there's the wide variety of freaky foes within. One of my very first times here, I'd only been playing the game for a few days, and I found myself alone, deep within the facility, staring at a Coilhead. My friend had just been snapped and dragged off by the Bracken, who, believe me, wanted to go at me too. Oh yeah, and this was the first time I ever got haunted by the ghost girl too. Yeah, I died, but it was the most scared I have ever been in my life. So, thanks for that, Lethal Company. That's all of the moons in the game, but there is one more way you can experience new moons. The Challenge Moons. The Challenge Moon rotates weekly and chooses a random exterior from the game's moons and predetermines absolutely everything. The map, the creature spawns, the scrap spawns will all be absolutely identical every single time you visit, down to the exact moment a creature pops out to haunt you. The Challenge Moon is a super fun, really replayable mode. Me and my friends have had a lot of fun planning out our attack on the Challenge Moon each week and trying new tactics to maximize our scrap collection whilst dealing with the horrors that await us. Thankfully, the company provides you with some credits to buy items to help get the maximum profit, so this is probably a good time to talk about some of those resources. The most basic item you'll want to carry is the Pro Flashlight. Don't get the regular flashlight, it's weak and it's lame and I hate it. The Pro Flashlight shines just enough light to make the dark hallways a little less terrifying and can be good for keeping track of stuff like Brackens. I know it takes up a precious slot and many prefer to run without it, but personally I'd always recommend picking one up. The shovel is also super useful. It's really the only way to quote fight back in the early moons. You can whack enemies and for the most part, they'll die after a few hits. Lethal Company is really not about fighting the enemies you face, but hey, it's an option now. You can also find stop and yield signs as scrap that work the same way but are much heavier and slow you down way too much for me. You can buy cute decorations for the ship, but by far the most important are the teleporters. The main teleporter will bring whoever's on the ship's camera back to the ship, and I cannot tell you how many times my life has been saved by my friends teleporting me out of harm's way at the very last second. The inverse teleporter is much more of a gamble. It teleports you to a random spot in the facility, and that spot is often not very safe. It's good fun though. You can also deck out your ship with a disco ball. It doesn't do anything, but it's a vibe. The most expensive item you'll probably buy is the jetpack. It's, well, pretty much what you'd expect. You can fly over the map, avoid outdoors enemies, and take one-handed scrap back to the ship super easily, just as long as you get the controls down. Oh, and then there's the company cruiser, the most stable Honda vehicle ever made. It's supposedly good for transporting large amounts of scrap, but I usually explode before I make it inside, so I guess we'll never know. There are two select items you cannot buy, rather you must rip them from the cold hands of a dead creature. First, the knife. The most British way to play Lethal Company, the knife can be found by killing a butler. The knife is about as strong as a shovel but much faster, so you can quickly kill something like a spider or an annoying teammate. There's also the double barrel shotgun, which you can get from nutcrackers. The shotgun is super unstable and has very limited ammo, but if you shoot a creature, chances are it will die almost instantly, which is very entertaining. It's more than worth taking a trip to Dine to grab a knife, or even taking a shovel and farming some shotguns from Rend. They just make it easier to deal with some of the horrors within the facilities, but keep in mind that some, like coils and jesters, cannot be damaged at all. However, your friends can be. The world of Lethal Company seems very self-contained. You never see the travel between the moons, and you don't really see much of the moons. There is still a lot of mystery surrounding this world, but there is undoubtedly some interesting lore hiding away. There are hidden logs that you can randomly pick up around the moons, or you can go out of your way to find. But I'll let you seek that one out for yourself. Lethal Company has a lot of content to explore and enjoy, but owing to its massive success, a large modding community is thriving too. We explored a variety of interesting mod packs, like the ones that add new moons with interesting quirks and designs. Anything's possible, but these moons go against a lot of the game's design principles, like why is there a bracken right outside the ship here? They're not the best if you're actually trying to play the game, but they can be fun to explore. But there are also some other mods you can play around with, and you can't forget the entity mods, adding interesting creatures like Herobrine to deal with. Another one of our favorites is the Brutal Company mod. It just adds random buffs, debuffs, and quirks to every run that can make the game significantly harder in completely unexpected ways, such as spawning a million hoarding bugs to harass us. The debug mod is also great fun for messing around. You can even add gambling. Well, that's pretty much Lethal Company. This game released in October of 2023 and very quickly became insanely successful, outselling Call of Duty Modern Warfare, having tens of thousands of active players at all times for months, and even achieving a spot in Fortnite just 6 months later. That in itself is unspeakably impressive to achieve for an indie game in such a short time. So how did such a simple game that flies in the face of every AAA release in the scene right now outsell them all? Well, it really lies in the format of the game. It's simple, it's repetitive, it's replayable, and it's social. The co-op horror makes for the perfect combo for YouTubers and streamers to create entertaining content. Their viewers see this and they recommend it to their friends, so all their friends hop on and play it. The game heavily makes use of proximity chat, and given the game itself reacts to your voices, it really makes for the perfect storm of chaos and hilarity. The game gives you downtime in the sanctuary of the dropship, where you can report back and tell your stories from the day before. If you get separated from the group, you might be too far away to hear them, and there's a certain thrill in trying to find your way back without getting killed, because if you do die, they probably won't know unless they stumble across your body. Partially owing to this dynamic, the game constantly alternates between being a liminal, slightly unnerving experience and being somehow simultaneously hilarious and terrifying. But the most crucial point of its success, the one core thing that has kept so many of us coming back for dozens and hundreds of hours, it's just really funny. DP, is that you? There's a he got masked,
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that will count us if we like stay on the left.
I don't think it was.
Okay, it won't. It won't. Meow.
Where did he go?
He's gonna go again.
I don't think it goes to that now.
Oh, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Nah.
What?
Hey, run over that blocky red thing. What's it? Oh, why you done that? Oh.
You're stupid.
I'm not. I'm locked in.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, look at you. You're trying to eat me. Just like you ate all those kids, you kid.
Okay, so we need to find that number.
Who are you holding
Clearly.
your arms at? Oh, that's why.
There's an old bird right out there.
Now you lying, man.
Sir.
What? Oh, we don't have a teleporter. Oh my god.
Wait.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Okay, I almost died.
That's
Oh,
twice now.
okay, Nix, this is up to you. I hate to break it to you, but I'm gonna explode.
Move it to drive.
That's what you get for trying to fucking kill me.
Oh.
Oh my god.
I swear, I always die to a bracket every single time.
Yeah, it's a.
Wait.
Oh my god! Be careful! It's a good game.